Well, hello again, everybody. It is so great to be back for another season of NFL football. We all love the NFL, don't we, folks? Such a classy league led by so many classy players and a classy man like Roger Goodell. Anyways, the video begins right after this.
Before I begin, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Their team of gourmet chefs create each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long.
Eat stress-free this summer with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. Also, discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. So what are you waiting for? Get started today and fuel up for your springtime goals. When things get hectic, Factor is flexible. Change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime.
I've said it in all the other ads that I've done for Factor, and it's 1000% true. They are the real deal. They have my complete and total endorsement, so if you're on the fence about it, you shouldn't be. They are legit. So head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code BARRY50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code BARRY50 at Factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders.
Kansas City versus Baltimore. Baltimore got on the board first with a Derrick Henry touchdown run on a drive where the Ravens looked unstoppable. The Chiefs' next drive started with Rashee Rice, which is something you don't really ever want to hear, but in this case it worked out, and ended with Xavier Worthy scoring a touchdown on a reverse. He's really fast, in case you didn't know. Then Lamar Jackson shit the football out of his butt, and it was recovered by the Chiefs, but the defense held firm and held them to just a field goal to make it 10-7. Throwing short of sticks on fourth down should be a federal offense. Oh look, here's Mahomes doing some shit that nobody else can do. It's almost like he's the best quarterback ever or something. But it only led to another field goal. We've lost a lot of people to the far left over these last couple years, and unfortunately Justin Tucker is now one of them. Unfortunately for Baltimore, Mahomes went out drinking with his dad before the game, and that's why he made this throw, and he was intercepted by South Africa ambassador Roquan Smith. Don't Google it. Giving Tucker a chance to atone for his unforgivable miss. The Chiefs once again decided to start a drive with Rashee Rice, which again normally ends badly, but not for the Chiefs. Andy Reid is a wizard. Mahomes kept moving the ball down the field, and the Chiefs eventually scored a touchdown to make it a 10-point game, but the Ravens would not go quietly as Lamar found Isaiah Likely on a huge catch and run to make it 20-17 early in the fourth. Mahomes then threaded the needle on this amazing touchdown throw to Xavier Worthy, who now has 2 career touchdowns. He's really fast, in case you haven't heard before. The Ravens kicked a field goal to make it a 1-score game, and then Mahomes shamelessly padded his receiving stats that gave Baltimore another chance late in the game to either tie or win. Baltimore got into the red zone, and Lamar missed a couple throws he should have made, especially when he missed Zay Flowers on 2nd and goal. But they still had one more chance, and on the final play, Jackson threw a strike to Isaiah Likely in the back of the end zone that was just incomplete as Likely's foot landed out of bounds. Just like Len Bias, when you get too much of the white line, bad things happen. Congrats to Chiefs fans for sticking with their team after only winning 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls. You're such fucking heroes. Philadelphia versus Green Bay. My Eagles took their show on the road to Brazil, and it started with Jalen Hurts doing an incredible Daniel Jones impression. Luckily for the Eagles, their early turnovers, Jason Kelce is missed, didn't lead to any touchdowns as the defense held the Packers to 2 field goals. But then Jalen Hurts decided to show people why he's paid all that money by throwing to new Eagles Saquon Barkley, who somehow survived the entire game without getting injured. Yay! But this weird and clunky game was just kind of that, weird and clunky. There was no real rhythm to it. The Packers scored to go up by 5 after their 2-point conversion didn't work, and then Hurts led the Eagles downfield again, capped off by another Saquon Barkley touchdown, which made it a 2-point game, and then the Packers scored on a long-ass touchdown to go right back up by 5 points before the Eagles trimmed it to 2 at halftime. Jalen Hurts said, "Oh, I suck? How about this deep pass, motherfuckers?" And he found A.J. Brown for a 67-yard touchdown to go up 24-19, but the victory was short as the Packers answered right back with a long drive, capped off with a Christian Watson touchdown. We all know Brazil is famous for their masseuses. I'm not sure how they feel about a Watson scoring. After an Eagles punt, Jordan Love felt so bad he decided to give us the ball. He threw an interception to a white guy, which is really like 5 interceptions to be honest. Anyways, the Eagles scored on another Saquon touchdown. The Packers then touchdown, missed a field goal. The Eagles were in prime position to put the game away, and then Jalen Hurts decided to be a stupid asshole and threw a terrible end zone interception in the end racism end zone, for crying out loud. But the defense held Green Bay to just a field goal, and the Eagles went on a long, time-consuming drive that they nearly fucked up at the goal line with a fumble, but thankfully it was recovered. They kicked a field goal to go up by 5. Jordan Love got hurt, and the game ended with Malik Willis taking a sack on a Hail Mary because he's the worst quarterback I've ever seen at the NFL level. And congratulations, Packers. He's your new starter for the next couple weeks. Eagles 1-0. We're winning the fucking Super Bowl this year. I know I say that every year, but we're definitely winning it this year. Fly, Eagles, fly. New England versus Cincinnati. In this terribly boring game, the Patriots scored first to begin the second quarter on a Ramondre Stevenson touchdown, but Joe Burrow, who should probably spend more time studying the playbook instead of cosplaying as Cody Rhodes, was once again terrible, although he wasn't at fault for this play where the Bengals tight end lost the ball right as he was about to cross the goal line like an asshole. Patriot said thank you very much and went up 10-0 at halftime. The Bengals kick returner decided to be a dick too and fumble it, and again set up the Patriots with another field goal to put them up 13-0. 2. You know what? That's the amount of ovaries Joe Burrow has with this throw on 4th down. What a disgusting play. Thankfully for him, though, the Patriots were starting Jacoby Brissett, which allowed the Bengals to cut the lead 13-7 on this touchdown run. But after a couple punts, the Patriots were able to go back up by 2 scores. But the Bengals said, not so fast, my friend, with a long field goal of their own to make it 16-10. The Bengals defense got Burrow the ball back, and he decided to throw it 11 yards short of the sticks on 3rd and 10. This is disgusting quarterback play, and this is Tom Brady's influence on the NFL. God, I fucking hate him so much. Anyway, Patriots then closed the game out with a 1st down run to give Gerard Mayo his first win as an NFL head coach. Pittsburgh versus Atlanta. The debut of Kirk Cousins in Atlanta started with the Falcons going up 3-0, and then the Steelers responding with a long field goal. There were a lot of those in this game, just as a fair warning. Kirk Cousins then looked like a zombie, throwing this terrible interception early on, which led to, you guessed it, another long Steelers field goal. God, they just make every game they play in boring as hell. They bring every opponent down to their level. They're a fucking scourge on the NFL. Holy crap, there's some actual offense. Kirk scrambling and finds Kyle Pitts for a touchdown. That's unbelievable. What a play by Kyle Pitts. This would be the only touchdown scored in this game. A legitimately, unironically, incredible throw here by Justin Fields. Oh yeah, he's on Pittsburgh now, in case you forgot. To set up a field goal just before halftime to make it 10-9. As only the Falcons could, they had a snap bounce off of a motion guy's legs, which led to a TJ Watt fumble recovery, which led to yet another long-ass field goal by Chris Boswell. He just keeps nailing threes like Steph Curry when he's up by double digits. Anyway, here's Kirk Cousins proving his toughness by getting double-teamed at once. Wow, my ex-wife knows about that. Fields then threw deep to George Pickens, who's the only semblance of offense that this team has for like the 3rd year in a row, which led to, you guessed it, a 5th field goal, which led to another punt by Atlanta. But the Steelers decided to go for it on 4th and 1 deep in Atlanta territory instead of kicking a field goal, which I respect them for actually, and they didn't get it. Looks like the tush push isn't so automatic, huh? Atlanta, though, punted again thanks to some checkdowns. They got the ball back, under 3 minutes left, time for Kirk to win the game, and instead he completed a pass, but it was to the other team, which led to the 6th field goal of the day to make it 18-10. And then Kirk ended the game by taking a sack. A pretty bad debut for Kirk Cousins in an Atlanta uniform, and the Steelers once again somehow win in the most disgusting ways imaginable. Minnesota versus New Jersey. Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones. How blessed are we? Anyway, the scoring began with a field goal by the Giants. The Vikings then answered back with an Aaron Jones touchdown run. Old face, new place. Sam Darnold had great numbers in this game, which is basically what he always does in week 1 every year. Seriously, go look up the numbers. The Vikings went up a couple scores on his touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. They then expanded that to 21-3 on another touchdown pass early in the 3rd. The Giants would cut it to 15 on a field goal. All you Giants fans hating on Daniel Jones for not throwing touchdowns, here you go, throwing a touchdown. Unfortunately, it's for the other team, or fortunately in my case, it's actually hilarious. The Giants are a fucking Mickey Mouse, Florida Marlins ass franchise, a couple random Super Bowl runs out of nowhere surrounded by nothing but crap. Terrible franchise, losing record in the Super Bowl era, 22nd out of 32 teams in win-loss percentage in the Super Bowl era, and they lost this one 28-6. Buffalo versus Arizona. One of the more exciting games of the weekend. Started off with a touchdown pass by Kyler Murray. Then Josh Allen was a little bit loose with his balls. Shout out to Deshaun Watson, which led to a field goal to put Arizona up 10 early, but the Bills responded with a field goal of their own, which they made. That's how you know it's not the playoffs. Cardinals went right back with another touchdown to go up 17-3 on a James Conner touchdown run, but the Bills, inspired by the death of franchise icon O.J. Simpson this offseason, fought back power of 1,000 suns as Josh Allen ran for a touchdown and then did some more Josh Allen shit where he threw a bullet for another touchdown to tie the game at 17. Kyler Murray then lost the ball for a fumble, which set up yet another Bills touchdown, put them up by 7. The Cardinals said, I'll take your 7 points and raise you 3 points, which is not actually good for the Cardinals as the Bills then scored another touchdown on another wild Josh Allen play. He does not have any care for his body, but history was made. The very first ever kickoff return touchdown under the new terrible XFL-ass kickoff rules. The Cardinals then scored on a 2-point conversion to make it 31-28 with 8.5 minutes left. Again, they went down to the wire. Cardinals had the ball with a chance to do something, take the lead, and it did not work out. The Bills went up by 6 with a field goal, giving the Cardinals one last chance to try and win, and it didn't amount to anything. Marvin Harrison Jr., highly touted receiver, only 4 yards in his rookie debut. Chicago versus Tennessee. It was not a good debut for first overall pick and famous metrosexual Caleb Williams, but fortunately for him, he was going up against Will Levis. It did not look good for Chicago for most of the game, though. The Titans ran up a 17-0 lead before the Bears finally got onto the board with a field goal late in the first half. Caleb Williams, damn, his numbers were pretty ugly, but you can't spell Caleb Williams without Will, and that's exactly what he did for his special teams and his defense. The Bills scored a touchdown off of a special teams return to make it 17-10. A long field goal made it 17-13. Will Levis wasn't protective of his balls, and that led to another long field goal off a strip sack for the Bears to make it 17-16. And then Levis threw one of the worst interceptions you'll ever see. He prematurely got rid of the ball here, but we all know that prematurely releasing his balls is part of the deal with Will Levis. And it was returned for a touchdown to pick 6, then capped off by a 2-point conversion to put the Bears up 24-17. Levis had one more try to get the Titans back in the game, but his desperation heave on 4th and 10 was intercepted to seal the win for Chicago. New Orleans versus Carolina. You know what? I'm going to be positive here in this game when it comes to Bryce Young. It's a new year. He had a bad rookie season, but oh fuck, he threw an interception on his first throw. Well, I guess it's more of the same. And that's exactly what it was. The Panthers and their fans' nightmare continues. Not only is Bryce Young dog shit, but their defense is also non-existent. They had Derek Carr looking like a Hall of Famer, and Bryce Young continued to look just as bad as you would imagine. This was a 30-3 game at halftime. The game was over at halftime. This is just a very, very sad state of affairs, but Bryce Young, even in the second half, he can't even pad his stats right. The Saints went up 37-3 before Young finally made a good throw and had a good drive where he ran for a garbage time touchdown to heroically cut it from 34-27. The Saints then added a couple more scores just for shits and giggles to win 47-10. I'm not lying when I say that Bryce Young has worse efficiency numbers than Jamarcus Russell. Miami versus Jacksonville. It was a trying day for the Dolphins franchise as they had to overcome so much adversity, and I'm not referring to anything off the field, of course. The Jaguars exploded on them early, going up 14-0 after a great throw by Trevor Lawrence, unironically. The Dolphins fought back, though, making it 14-7 before the Jaguars went up 17-7 at halftime. The Dolphins then started dialing up their usual shit, and Jalen Waddle had a huge gain, but it didn't amount to anything. Thankfully for the Dolphins, the Jaguars were in the giving mood as they gave the ball away after Travis Etienne fumbled right as he was about to go in for a huge touchdown. Of course, then, on the very next play, Tua found brand new martyr Tyreek Hill on a long touchdown pass to make it 17-14. The Jaguars would never score again the rest of the game, spoiler, but the Dolphins would. They missed a field goal, but their defense held firm, and they then made the field goal to tie it at 17-17 with 4.5 minutes left. After yet another defensive stop, the Dolphins converted on 4th and 1 to run the clock all the way down to set up the game-winning 52-yard attempt, which they got to improve to 1-0. What a choke job by the Jaguars. Houston versus Indianapolis. The game began pretty nondescript with a Houston field goal, but then my large adult son, Anthony Richardson, Big Tony, in his return from a season-ending injury last year, unleashed one of the greatest throws I've ever seen for a touchdown to go up 7-3. CJ Stroud said, "Oh, would you throw the ball deep? Well, I can do that same thing too, bitch." And he threw it deep, completing it, which set up a Houston touchdown, put them up 12-7 after a failed 2-point conversion. Big Tony then showed off some of his rust by throwing a red zone interception late in the first half. Houston eventually went up by 8 on a field goal, but the Colts came in clutch in special teams with a blocked punt, which set up a Jonathan Taylor touchdown run. The Colts' 2-point conversion, though, was no good, and this would end up being huge with the outcome of the game. Brand new Texan Joe Mixon would then punch it in for a touchdown, but Houston up 2 scores. The Colts kept fighting back, though, and Anthony Richardson Washington threw his second long touchdown pass of the day. He only had 9 completions all game, but they were exciting, and that's what really matters. The Texans didn't blink, though, and Stroud found the other brand new Texan, Stephon Diggs, for a touchdown, but Big Tony said, "Feel my wrath," as he unleashed another deep bomb and then ran for a tough touchdown on 4th down, but the Texans, led by second-year superstar CJ Stroud, converted a couple third downs to run the clock out and win the game. Give me more of this matchup, please. LA Chargers versus Las Vegas. The return of Jim Harbaugh to the NFL following his scandal-free national championship season at Michigan last year. The Raiders scored the first touchdown of the game on an incredible deep throw by Gardner Minshew III to go up 7-3. But then Minshew did really nothing the rest of the game except this terrible, hilarious, I don't know what the hell this is, fumble throw, which the Chargers recovered and ended up kicking another field goal off of to make it 7-6 at halftime. The Chargers ground game then made a statement to set up another field goal to go up 9-7. The Raiders, as they are wont to do, then fumbled the ball away on a terrible turnover. But don't worry, it didn't actually hurt them on the scoreboard. They got the ball back, and then they decided to compound it with a missed field goal because they're the Raiders and they suck. Chargers would then finally score a touchdown to go up 2 possessions. The Raiders finally would answer again with a field goal to make it a 1-possession game again, but after the Chargers broke off another long run and then scored another touchdown on a Justin Herbert pass to Wes Welker 3.0, the rest of the game was just really window dressing that ended with a batted Gardner Minshew interception. Jim Harbaugh wants his cake, and he wants it now. If you get this reference, I love you. Dallas versus Cleveland. It was the much anticipated broadcasting debut of former Bill Belichick quarterback and 3-time Super Bowl loser Tom Brady. Never forget how Fox usurped and discarded Greg Olsen like a piece of trash. We will never forget him. Justice for Greg Olsen. Anyways, let's go to the game. The Browns started off with a 3-0 lead. The Cowboys then answered back with a Dak touchdown pass. It was not a good day for Grover Cleveland, as he took a bunch of sacks and was genuinely just terrible. And this is before another sexual assault allegation came against him on Monday, which is sure just coincidental timing, I'm sure. Cowboys were up 17-3. Then after a terrible Watson interception, they went up 20-3 at halftime. Watson then tried to evade defenders like he evades the law, but he was not good enough to do it, taking a sack which set up a punt return touchdown by the Cowboys, which put them up by 24. The Browns finally responded with their only good offensive drive in the day, which ended with a Watson touchdown pass to cut it to 17. But once again, unlike those criminal charges, Watson could not outrun the Cowboys defenders. Do you know how fucked up you have to be to make the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons look like the good guys? It's amazing how far Deshaun has fallen. After a bunch of nothing and a couple field goals, the game really ended when Watson threw a deflected interception, his second of the day, before padding his stats and scoring a meaningless touchdown with 30 seconds left. It just needs to be said, Deshaun Watson might be a terrible person, but even worse, he's a terrible quarterback, and that's what really matters. Tampa Bay versus Washington. Good news, Washington fans. This is the debut of your second overall pick, Jayden Daniels. The bad news, Washington fans, is that you have to play football now. And after a couple early field goals, the Buccaneers started to expand the lead on this incredible touchdown throw and catch by Mike Evans to put the Buccaneers up 13-0, Karl Malone's favorite number. Jayden Daniels took a couple huge hits, but he would lead a touchdown drive that cut it to 6 temporarily before the Buccaneers expanded their lead even more, going up 23-7 after another Baker Mayfield touchdown. After a Washington stop, the Commanders then scored on Jayden Daniels' first ever touchdown run to make it 23-17, but the Buccaneers offense on this day was impressive. So impressive that I haven't seen the franchise perform like this offensively, especially at the quarterback position, since Brad Johnson. The Buccaneers went up 30-14. Bad habit here by Jayden Daniels, throwing about 30 yards short of the sticks on 3rd and 20. He needs to cut that habit out for my entertainment purposes. And then Baker Mayfield had one of the best days of his career, throwing his 4th touchdown and second of the day to Mike Evans. But then Jayden Daniels did what all good quarterbacks do, which is pad their numbers in garbage time with another rushing touchdown to reach the final score of 37-20. Look at Todd Bowles' man boobs. That's what a real man looks like right there, folks. Seattle versus Denver, Super Bowl 48 rematch. The game began on pretty even terms before 37-year-old rookie quarterback Bo Nix threw his first interception, but he did so knowing that it would set up a safety after a Seattle holding in the end zone to make it 5-3 at the top of the second inning. Thanks to a muffed punt by some dipshit Seattle player, the Broncos went up 8-3. Geno Smith then broke free and ran for a 34-yard touchdown to make it 9-8, and then the Broncos got another safety to make it 10-9. In his one career start, Bo Nix already has as many safeties, 2, as Patrick Mahomes has had in his entire career, so that's something to look forward to if you're a Broncos fan. It certainly sounds sustainable. The Broncos would go up 13-9 before the Seahawks responded with a go-ahead touchdown on a touchdown run. You're not supposed to fumble the ball, dipshit. Somebody didn't give him the memo. The Seahawks then went up 19-13 entering the fourth quarter before piling it on with a Geno Smith touchdown pass to make it 26-13, and this game was basically over. Bo Nix was horrible in his debut, which again, he's a rookie. You don't want to give him too much slack, but the guy started like 100 games in college. I was hoping that he'd be a little bit better than this. He did run for a touchdown, which was pretty cool, to make it 26-20, but Geno Smith would make sure Broncos never got the ball back again to seal the win for the Seahawks. Detroit versus LA Rams. Did you know that Matthew Stafford, who plays quarterback for the Rams, used to play for Detroit? And did you know that Jared Goff, who plays quarterback for the Lions, used to play quarterback for the Rams? Doesn't that just knock your socks off? My goodness, it's almost as if players change teams all the time. Pretty boring first half, which only saw a couple field goals, started to change when Detroit scored a touchdown to go up 10-3. Matthew Stafford, high school teammate of Clayton Kershaw, then threw a terrible interception, but you know what? That's okay. Stafford's still a young quarterback. He'll learn not to throw terrible throws like that. In second half, Jared Goff found responsible gambler Jameson Williams for a long touchdown to go up 17-3, but then the Rams got to work. They ended up scoring 17 unanswered points, thanks in part to a terrible Jared Goff red zone interception, and Stafford finding the hardest working receiver I've ever seen since Wes Welker and Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola and Hunter Renfrow, Cooper Kupp, to go up 20-17, 4.5 minutes left. But the Lions, they had a chance to win the game, but instead had to kick a field goal, which sent it into overtime. They got the ball to start the overtime, converted a couple first downs, drove all the way down the field, which led to the game-winning touchdown for David Montgomery to win 26-20. San Francisco versus the Jets. The good news for Jets fans is that Aaron Rodgers' Achilles didn't explode 4 snaps into the season this time. The bad news is that you're still the Jets, and after an impressive early touchdown drive that gave you a 7-3 lead, nothing good really happened again. Rodgers looked rusty as you'd expect, and the 49ers continued to look like a well-oiled machine, at one point reeling off 23 unanswered points even without Christian McCaffrey. I'm not saying McCaffrey's a system running back, but well, yes I am. His backup came in and put up all pro numbers, but anyway, there were some flashes of the old Rodgers as he had a dime for a touchdown on a free play, but after a terrible throw on fourth down 16 with 7.5 minutes left, the game was over and the rest was just cosmetic as the 49ers won handily 32-19, with the newly acquired Josh Allen taking a knee to end the game. At least I think that's Josh Allen. It looks a lot like him, wearing the same number. What the hell, man? San Francisco really get everything? Now it's time for some quick little awards for week 1. The award for worst broadcaster of the week goes to Tom Brady. He had a dry, wooden delivery and didn't really add anything beneficial to the broadcast. And I'm saying that unironically, my hate for Brady aside. Unless he's really ripping on people or talking about X's and O's, I don't understand why Fox paid him $400 million, other than the fact that he's Tom Brady. I mean, come on. Did they even hear him announce games before they threw all that money at him? In fact, he's such a terrible announcer, I think that Commissioner Roger Goodell needs to take a stand and remove all 7 of Tom Brady's Super Bowl rings from existence. That's just my opinion. The Ben Roethlisberger Award for biggest accused rapist of the week goes to Cleveland quarterback Deshaun Watson. Who could have seen this coming? Although Watson does have some pretty feisty competition from his backup, Jameis Winston. And the puppy of the week goes to my dog Scooby, who unfortunately died from watching Daniel Jones and Bryce Young play quarterback. Rest in peace, Scooby. You lived a great life.